Hi, I'm Ken Jr. and welcome to Train World. Hi, I'm Ken Jr. and welcome to Train World TV. Here you'll find the latest and greatest in model trains. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new to our channel, we're glad you're here, and I invite you to click the subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you'll never miss a video. Now, we'd also love to send you exclusive deals and special announcements that you won't find anywhere else. So be sure to sign up for our emails, TW Text, and stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Now, you can find all the links in the description box below or trainworld.com. And without further ado, enjoy today's video. All right, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Train World TV. We have another action-packed night, and Eric Smith, Micro Trains Line, the CEO. How you doing, Eric?
Very well, thank you, Ken.
All right, and of course, it wouldn't be a show without Tony Cook of Model Railroad News. Everybody show their Model Railroad News catalog. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing well, Ken. Thanks for having me tonight. Eric's great to see you.
Likewise, Ken. Excuse me, Tony.
All right, and so a lot of people are going to be interested with tonight, and it's a big show. But N scale sometimes is very tiny, NZ scale too. But we got an action-packed show for you tonight. And I think we got to start with Eric and just, I guess, how he came about with Micro Trains Line, how about their company, and just really more information. And, you know, it's always great to have Eric on. We've had him on a couple of past episodes, but I don't feel like we really had the chance to get to learn more about Micro Trains and Eric Smith as well. And Tony had a great idea to bring him on with all the new announcements that Micro Trains was having, and some great products. So they have a lot of items stored in for us today, and including some N-scale new announcements and stuff like that. But well, Tony, if it's okay with you, we'll start it off with Eric.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, Eric, tell us about Microtrains and how it all got started.
Sure. So Microtrains started 50 years ago this year. In terms of our first in-scale boxcar was released in November of 1972, and here we are, fast forward in 2022. And so the entire calendar year of 2022, we're recognizing our 50th anniversary in a number of ways, having a lot of fun with that. I joined the company back in 1988. I married the founder's daughter. That's how I got into the business. Totally involved in an absolutely totally different industry, and moved from Portland, Oregon, south down to Medford, Oregon, where we're located. Technically in Talent, Oregon is where we're located, down in the southwest corner of the state, and never looked back. So I'll be recognizing the beginning of my 34th year this coming September, actually Labor Day in just a week. So that's how I got started. And when I came on board, we were still the original KD Quality Products company. And obviously, there's still a KD Quality Products doing very well these days. Microtrains had been a division of KD, focusing on the N and Z scale manufacturing of our rail cars and accessories, and of course, the Magnomatic coupling system. And then in 1990, our founders, Keith Edwards and his twin brother, Dale Edwards, they decided to split the business. And Keith incorporated Microtrains, again, which had been a division of KD, into a corporation of its own. And so that took place in 1990. And then in 1993, my father-in-law, Keith Edwards, he built the building that we're in. We occupy 33,000 square feet here in Talent, right here. And we've been here ever since. And it's been quite a ride.
Now, Eric, did you guys always produce and have a factory in the States, or did you switch that over? Or because I know you're kind of an American company, pretty much.
American made all the way. Yes, it's always our train cars have always been made here. Of course, the Magnomatic coupling system right here in Oregon, not just in the United States. I will say that our N-scale FT locomotive, the power chassis, we do contract overseas. That comes in, but we tool, we manufacture, we paint and decorate, print the shell and all the detail parts for the FT locomotive. But other than that, everything is done right here.
Wow, it's amazing because Tony and I we talk to so many manufacturers and guests, and all the comments anytime we have any manufacturer, it's like, why don't you bring production back to the States? And so now we have a manufacturer, Eric Smith. He's doing it all in the States. He's doing a great job. So that's amazing. Kudos to you guys.
Oh, thank you.
And why do you think you guys are able to do it, where most manufacturers aren't able to do it in the States?
That's a good question. And I have to admit, kind of hard to answer. I guess from our perspective, it's always been here, certainly in my years here. And we have gone to the point where we have brought literally every manufacturing process in-house. As we say, soup to nuts here.
Wow.
Totally a captive operation. An example of that is we manufacture our jewel cases that we package our cars in. We die cast our underframes and cast metal parts here in-house.
Wow.
Of course, all of the injection molding work is done. We have our own creative services department, which includes 4 full-time graphic artists. We do all of our own print work in terms of catalogs, our monthly micro news, the newsletter that we issue out. We also produce all of our own magazine ads and then send them directly to the various publishers, like Tony, Model Railroad News, and our own in-house tooling department. We have journeyman machinists, mold makers.
Wow.
We have a R&D engineer. We have a drafting lead who does all of the drafting work, CAD work. And I could go on, but it's all done in-house, and it's worked well for us.
That's unbelievable. And a lot of times people come in the store, and if they're into N scale, they just know the quality and craftsmanship, and you actually keep it at an affordable price, where most people would think that if you're making it in the States, it would be so much more expensive for a box car, double the price. But your prices are so in line with the industry, and affordable prices, and the quality. You could tell the difference, and it's just really beautiful. I got here a TTX boxcar, but it's just you guys truly make beautiful stuff, and the details on it.
Oh, thank you.
That's a wonderful car. That's that new 60-foot double plug high cube that came out, a year or two ago, maybe.
About a year ago, yes. Yeah.
Body mounted couplers, ride height. That's another thing I've seen on even some of your older tooling, going to the body mounted couplers, which is becoming more and more important to the N-scale guys. The ride height, there's things I'll see where it's noted that it's, being worked on to make the cars, when I say ride height, the guys want them to ride lower and look more prototypical. But like that boxcar is a perfect example of the stuff you guys are doing now, and it is really nice looking.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's part of our game plan, and has been for a couple of years, is finding that balance between all new tooling and then going back and retrofitting our existing tooling, some of which goes back into the 70s, again, 50 years ago, 1972, to modify them so that they are more in adherence to the expectations of the model railroaders today.
That's great. And it's amazing. I see a couple of comments and people are bringing up your graffiti batch. And I actually picked out like a weathered, specialty set that you guys have. So microtrains every month, they actually weather and graffiti some of the cars, extra cars, and they're very limited, but they're so well done, and it's amazing. And it's very smart because you guys are able to put out product and different product in limited batches, and people go crazy for it.
Well, yeah, that's our business model, and every month on average we'll do about 20 different cars. Some of those are Z scale. We do a handful of those, but the majority, of course, are the N scale, and they're released in as single cars, also in multi packs, specialty themed sets, things of that nature.
Those box weathered sets are just beautiful. We just reviewed the BKTY 50-foot IPD cars, and I found, and each one of the 4 cars in the set was different in its patching, its fadedness, the look of it. And then I found a bunch of pictures we'd shot over the years around the Kansas City area of all those prototypes, and laying the prototypes with those models and just looking at the two. It's amazing how, I mean, you guys hit that look of these in-service cars so well. And you see those all the time. I saw one just like a week or so ago. It's like, oh, there's one of those microtrains BKTY IPD cars. But I love those sets. Yeah, they're very nicely done.
Appreciate that.
That's great. And yeah, so a lot of nice stuff. And you're also doing a lot of specialty stuff now. This is that Montana Rail Link car.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
So really cool artwork, design, beautiful stuff. And again, the quality is there. Everybody wants to put cars that are able to roll well. And just, this is the
breast cancer awareness car. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice stuff. And I guess with microtrains, with the tooling and everything done in-house, I guess, how did you get into manufacturing? Did you know manufacturing at all, or
myself?
Yes.
I didn't know a caboose from a locomotive when I first joined the company. I will say, as a kid growing up, I had a good friend, and I'm going back to grade school days, and his dad was a hardcore HO model railroader. He had his train room, and every once in a while, my friend's dad would let us come into the train room, and the bench work was about up to here on us, again, being little kids, and it was fantastic. And this is back in the 60s. That was really the only exposure I had to model railroading up until I met my wife. Her name is Vicky. She's my partner in the business, and we work shoulder to shoulder here. And then, fast forward to here we are now. My original position was marketing and sales, and that coincided with N-scale as a scale that really took off, and microtrains was part of that, and the whole collectibility of it, and it was something else. And then as time went on, I kind of shifted and expanded into general administrative responsibilities, and that's pretty much where I'm at today.
That's amazing. And you run it like a well-oiled machine. Anytime I call over, everyone's so cordial, nice, and knows exactly what they're doing. And the products speak for themselves, and that comes from the top, and how you run yourself as an organization. So kudos to you guys, because every time we get your cars, there's no no issues with them. They just come in and they're ready to roll. It's just great stuff.
We sometimes refer to ourselves as the proverbial duck on the pond, above water, graceful, gliding right along, underwater paddling like you know what.
Oh,
Oh, very good. You do great stuff, and so I appreciate that. And 50 years is tremendous. That's what an accomplishment.
Oh,
So
we're
that's
proud of
really
that.
great. Yep, yep. And I guess since 50 years, we might as well do a little raffle here. So let's raffle off this TTX boxcar here. Put in the chat hashtag MTL50 and put in the state you're from, and we're gonna ship this out to you for free. It's a raffle, and this Microtrains boxcar, if I don't break it before I send it, but this beautiful car, we'll ship it out. Do hashtag MTL50 and put the state where you're located from, so we could ship it out and reach you to. And so we'll do one nice raffle giveaway for you to boost up the interest tonight. So
That's great.
we'll
Very
get
nice.
that going. But you also have some new products, Eric.
We do. I'd like to talk about two of them in the time that you allow.
Yeah.
The first of which is our PS2 two-bay covered hopper. This was originally announced quite some time ago, but we're finally at the point where in the month of October we'll release the first release. And there on the screen is an exploded view diagram, and I wanted to include that in the presentation here because it shows all of the parts that go into that. I've lost track of the number of parts, but we're very proud of it. The first release will be I got to find it here. It's going to be Great Northern, and we'll have two road numbers released separately, followed by Western Pacific, and that'll be in the very latter part of calendar 2022, Western Pacific.
that is such a great prototype, Eric. And it's one of those, when you guys announced it, my first thought was, don't they make that?
Yeah,
It's like that little two-bay hopper, and its Pullman standard is the PS2. Of course, it was their line of cars where they did box cars, gondolas, a flat car. The PS1 was a box car, 2 was this covered hopper, and so on. And I think these date to what, I think the mid to late 1950s is when they first roll out. And these cars were everywhere. So as I say, it was kind of, I remember seeing that announcement, way back, and it's like, I thought they made that. But this is going to be a fantastic little car for you.
We're excited about it. There's a lot of road names, a lot of depth in terms of road numbers, and real workhorse.
Very nice.
So that's one of two all-new prototype models that I wanted to share with the audience here. The second of which, and we've already, as we say, begun cutting steel, meaning we're already underway with the tooling to make the plastic injection molds. And that is our 70-ton, 65-foot mill gondola. And we have a piece right there that Ken has brought up on the screen. And above the images, those are the features that our gondola will offer. It will also come with turned 33-inch metal wheels, factory installed. And here again, we're very excited about this. We're looking and are targeting the early part of 2023. I'm fingers crossed that it'll be, I'm going to say, the early part of spring.
Wow.
Oh, and I see it is. I was curious to know because those are famous for being drop-in gondolas, so they could carry things even longer than 65 feet. I see your notes say it will have that to it. That's going to be a neat car. And all the loads you guys do, that in addition to the freight cars and things you make in both N and Z, the various loads, vehicles, and other things that you sell as like kits are just fantastic. I always hear on those like that. What you did, that Hummer recently maybe was also an HO, and the different plane loads and other things just make such eye-catching things for a layout. So this Milgon, I just can't imagine what all you guys will fill that with.
Well, we're again very excited for this new model as well. And as you just said, Tony, lots of opportunity for a variety of loads and road names, road numbers. So those are the two prototype new models I wanted to share with the audience. And I also included a placard that illustrates something on kind of the whimsical side of model railroading. And we're coming out just this next month, in just a week or so, our annual Halloween train set. And this is the Wicked Night Flyer. Every model train, every model railroader needs to have a Halloween train set. And this one is going to feature, the second car down is a flat car. And that cauldron there is literally going to glow green, as in the image.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
that's one of the neatest things about microtrains is this almost split personality thing of if you want really hardcore prototype like that, the trailer train boxcar that Ken was showing, I mean, fantastic contemporary prototype. But then for like collector things and such, I'm more of an HO guy. So I see this stuff and think, man, I wish more HO companies would get into this kind of stuff. This is so cool. So there's such two sides that I feel like you serve both total ends of the hobby. The guys that are just absolutely prototypical, or I don't want to hear about it. And then people like me that are like, this is really cool, and I'd like to have one of those. And I don't care whether it's real or not. It's a fun thing to have.
Well, that's our approach, and I guess maybe kind of a Jekyll and Hyde mentality.
and you know, I think there's a lot of guys, you know, like me that are that way. I can totally appreciate a fantastically well done prototype model. Great, and I got to have one. But then I get just as excited over something like this, like, oh, that's cool. You know, I'd like to have that too. So, but I guess as Ken Jr. will tell you from looking at my orders, that almost anything with wheels and a coupler, you probably could sell it to me. So I guess it's really not saying a lot. Yeah.
Tony's an easy sale. But,
maybe this would be an appropriate time to share with the audience another item, and it's on the whimsical side, but it has real railroad background to it. And we were fortunate enough to receive permission to come up with a series that is the Railroad Magazine series, years gone by. And it's a 12-car series, our 40-foot high cube. There's an article that is in the magazine there. So that's terrific to see. I have a couple of samples that I'll just hold up on the screen here. And this is release number 6 of 12. And I'm going to get right there.
Oh, wow. Very neat.
And these are Railroad Magazine was the very first railroad magazine in terms of publications. And it started in 1906. And it was kind of like a pulp railroad magazine. That's kind of the position it had. And when we first saw this, we thought these are cool images, and these are real magazine covers, the artwork. And so we're doing that, and so it's kind of a crossbreed between real railroad and then whimsical. Obviously, there weren't cars like this, but it does have its founding, this series, in the real railroad world.
That artwork is just, it's so neat. I say in this review is going to be in our November issue, and I mentioned that I'd known of Railroad Magazine, but it really was pretty much gone by the 1970s, and it gets incorporated into Karsten's Rail Fan and Railroad, and that's now part of the White River Group that I work for with the magazines that I do. But Railroad was one I couldn't tell you a lot about. Like, well, is it like trains, or is it like, you know, rail? What is it? And I had somebody give me an old box of them.
Oh, wow.
I just found it fascinating because it truly is. It's like you hear those old like detective stories or this or that. And that's what this is, but it's railroads. So it'll be some guy talking about, you know, he was running a local train someplace and had this problem with brakes on something or another. And they're fun stories of real railroading. You know, I don't know if they're all factual. I think some of it is, again, it's made to be entertaining, but it is, if you're not familiar with them, look them up. You'll see them occasionally at swap meets, but pick up a couple of these older issues. I have a whole box of them, and every once in a while I pull one out, sit out on the front porch, and I'll read one of these stories, and they're fun. And the art, these covers that are reproduced on these cars, and that's one of the things you guys do so well, whether it's graffiti, the faded or patched cars, or stuff like this. I mean, Ken, these are like works of art when you look at this. I don't know how they multicolor print all that and get it to look that good. I mean, they're stunning looking cars.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and Eric, actually, one of the questions out there: do you use a digital printer or technology, or how do you get those images so crisp on that? Like Tony said, it's just really beautiful, like layered art.
Right. Well, thank you. We it's kind of proprietary.
Okay, that's fine.
So I don't want to go too far into it, but we use a variety of methods to apply our artwork, and
Wow, cool.
here's the finished product.
That's awesome. Very neat.
And that's a neat set of cars. Those are all the 40-foot, the little high cube, and it's the modified tooling where the sliding door is removed, so you got that nice smooth surface to put that image on. So they're fantastic collector's items. They also make a neat, run of the cars to run in a contest. And as Eric mentioned, each of those images is a cover, and underneath the Railroad magazine, you see a date, which would correspond with it, and then a little information basically telling you what the cover story was, or what the theme or something of the art. But those are a really neat set, and we're about the halfway mark. There's going to be a dozen of those, Eric.
A total of a dozen, and this month of August, the release is number 6. So, in fact, to give you an idea, to further illustrate how old the original magazines are, up in the let's see, it's as you're looking at the car side, the upper right-hand corner has the original price in the car I'm holding, 15 cents for that magazine.
Wow.
Wow.
And I guess, Tony, on this magazine, it's coming out next month, because this month I didn't catch it in. So you gotta get.
No. I'm as I always do. I sneak stuff in here for you to see early, Ken, because I know your dad steals the magazine first, and you don't get to see it. So this way you can tell your dad, I already seen that. This is going to be in the November edition, which goes to press in a few weeks.
So. By the way, Tony, I signed up for the HO Collector. I know this is a little off topic, but a lot of information in here, and a lot of cool designs. And for me, I like to see like the old stuff and the designs, what was in there. And we actually made notes on what we could recommend to the manufacturers on what should be made based off of your old nostalgic recollections.
Well, and Eric is really involved too with what the N-Scale Enthusiast.
Right.
That does in-scale products.
Yes.
HO Collector was part of it. Was I'd look at like the in-scale Enthusiast, I'd look at stuff that Microtrains was doing and think, why don't we have more of this for HO, and why don't we have more of like there's the toy train or classic, I'm trying to think of the name of it, that Kallenbach does on like large scale, like Lionel and American Flyer. And HO, for the amount of the market that it takes up, why is there not a magazine? And I hear that we're now in our 6th year, and that I just had that from somebody saying, I can't believe this magazine never existed before this, that HO is so needed to have this documentation. But so it's a fun thing. It's a pet project. I don't have enough to do, Ken, so that's what I do in my downtime is I work on HO Collector.
Well, I think Eric's going to want you to make an N-Scale Collector now, because they got 50 years of history.
They do.
And I'm sure Eric could roll back the archives of what was like a collector's item or real hot. And so that's pretty interesting. Actually, Eric, one of our employees, and he passed away, God rest his soul, but great guy, excellent. And he was a huge Microtrains collector. He would need every single piece of each month. He would have his own standing order, and he would just collect them every month. And it was really amazing. He really showed us Microtrains and the quality, and he was always your biggest pusher. He was like, Microtrains is the best.
Drug of choice.
Yeah. And he never played with them. He would just collect them. And he just had a huge collection of Microtrains N-scale items. And it was just unbelievable. I know a lot of the items that were hot, he would get so hot and heavy. He was like, you got to make sure you get it. You got to make sure you get it. And, you know, there are those N scale collector pieces out there, just like HO.
One exaggerated, crazy story to your point about the collecting of Microtrains cars back in the heyday, if you will, is we had a very standard boxcar. Forgive me, I can't recall the road name. And we had released, and it had shipped out of the factory. There was like about a half a dozen, maybe 10 cars, and we discovered that there was a road number mess up. It was the wrong road number, and so we stopped production and we stopped shipping the cars out. And word got out that there was this limited number of this one car. And in the secondary market, the auction market, this car back then, I think sold, I'm guessing, $8, something like that, $9 maybe. And it auctioned off for over $1,500.
Wow.
One 40-foot boxcar. And,
Wow.
Back in the day. So
I see nothing crazy about that. I have that doesn't raise an eyebrow for me. Yeah.
It's amazing. Very cool. Very cool. All right. And we also have, I guess, the last sneak peek, and I saw some people asking about the 1943 Spirit and our custom works that we did with Microtrains. And so before we forget, and I just want to say that working with Microtrains, this is our first project together, and Eric has been nothing but a gentleman, and the Microtrains team has been helping us along the way with artwork designs and just getting everything correct and the packaging. So it's been a real pleasure to work with them the first time, and we're really excited for them. And I'll show you a quick ad before Eric shows you a quick sneak peek. But these are the cars that were kind of coming out with Microtrains, the Spirit Caboose, boxcar, and a UP flag caboose and boxcar as well. And I think these are going to be really popular in N scale now, especially that everybody's making a big boy now, which is crazy. So they need the rolling stock for the big boy. And what better than some of these unique paint schemes? And it should look really nice. And the pre-orders have just been phenomenal. And actually, I believe one or two of the items were close to already pre-sold out.
Wow.
So make sure you get them in. And they are big numbers, what we ordered, but the response has been tremendous. So make sure you get your pre-order in, because they're just beautiful cars.
Oh, thank you. In fact, if now's an okay time, Ken, I do have a sample of each of the two box cars. We're still in the midst of decorating the two cabooses, or caboose, as we say. But here is the supporting our troops car, your car. And I'm going to hold it up right here.
Oh, very neat.
Oh, nice. Looks like it's got a nice, like, reflective, the silver finish.
Yeah,
that's really nice, Eric. Even just seeing it on video. Wow.
And by the way, before I continue, Ken, everything that you said, kind words about Microtrains and working together on this project, back at you. You've been a delight to work with and very responsive when we've reached out to you for help and direction and information and such. So that's very much appreciated. This is the second one. This is the Building America, the flag car.
Oh, that's nice.
Very cool.
There we go. And I must say, both of these cars look terrific.
Yes. And, this joint venture and partnership that we did with these cars, it's something that we can build on the success on. And I truly believe that the amount of pre-orders were just so great that we're going to look forward to making more with Microtrains and hopefully do some more stuff with them down the line. So if you do like the cars, make sure you pre-order them and let us know in the chat, and let us know what you think of Microtrains, what you think of our exclusive cars. There's a lot of people out there with tons of excitement, so we're really looking forward to it.
Us as well.
Awesome. And Yeah, and that's about it. You got a lot of stuff, and we're actually it's funny because I was speaking to some of your representatives, and we're now going to start to take pre-orders on some of your N scale items, and they sent me a list of some of the N scale items. So we're also taking pre-orders on your new hoppers, the
Great.
new announcements that are coming out. So Great Northern, Western Pacific. And this is something that we haven't really done before with micro trains, just because it's so collectible and desirable that it's so hard to take pre-orders because sometimes they just sell out instantly. So there are some items that we can pre-order ahead of time, and these are them on the website. So make sure you take a quick peek, and you could easily sort. You shop by brand, micro trains, select pre-orders, and you could really drill it down. Rolling stock, road name, whatever you're looking for, the Train World exclusive cars. So this is something newer that we're doing with the micro trains line, and it's a credit to the micro train support staff that kind of helped me kind of put this together. So we really appreciate that.
And we in turn appreciate the promotion and the support, Ken, from your end as well. Very much so.
Perfect. Then Tony, we're looking forward to that article next month.
The railroad magazine set will be in there, and we always cover new microtrains products. I've got the gondola. I got pictures I work with, and his last name's escaped me now. Brandon is who I work with, Eric, and is great help on things and for samples and images and such. So yeah, the gondola we'll be covering, and the PS2 hopper will have big reviews on both those to show them off. And remember too, Ken showed the stuff that Train World will have for pre-order, but if you just want to keep up, Micro News is a full color, about 4 or 6 page newsletter, and you can get the current one, you can get back issues. If you go to our hobby shop or train show, you can get a real deal printed one, and it's something to collect too. There's no end to the stuff I can collect, and I love collecting literature. But anyway, you can download those as PDFs by going to its Microtrains website, which is micro-trains.com, and you'll see it under the top banner there, and there's like literature or downloads, and you can see the whole list of stuff that's coming. And that's what I use a lot. Then I go and bug Brandon. Hey, can you get me a picture of this? Or I want to make sure I cover that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, Tony, about Brandon. Brandon Templeton is our graphic arts lead and does a terrific job.
And just to answer some questions before we go, because I don't think we addressed it. He's happy with that. The 1943 and Spirit Boxcar Caboose, hopefully early next month. We'll be getting them in soon and shipping them out as soon as we get them in. And then I did see Lyndon was asking about the order numbers. Did you put them in one of the emails recently? Yes, we did. So if you didn't get an N-Scale email, you could re-sign up or maybe update your selections, because we send out emails based off scale. But here are the item numbers. We'll do it old school, but the boxcar UP Spirit is 100-91015. It's actually this way. The boxcar is 020-91292. The UP flag boxcar is 020-91291. And the UP flag caboose 100-91014. So those are up on the website. You could check that out. And thank you all for attending tonight. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Tony. If you haven't done so already, I think this was the one we were raffling off, but put in the chat MTL 50 and your state, and we're raffling this off. So tomorrow I'll pick out a winner. We'll contact you and to congratulate Microtrains for 50 years in business. That's quite an accomplishment.
Well, thank you, Ken. Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate the opportunity to join in on your broadcast here. It's been a lot of fun.
That's great. And thank you very much, Tony, for coming on. Thank you, Eric. We really appreciate having And thank you, everyone, and have a great night.